Time. It is a very normal yet strange part of life. It sets the backdrop that stages all of life's events, a backdrop that is always changing. Timing is essential if plans are to succeed, for without a proper setting, they are ineffective and meaningless. To him, every moment was a rite of passage, another chance to fix the broken pieces of his once beautiful reality. It was time now. Elikai could feel it in his bones. He walked slowly down the long corridor to his father's throne room. His mind went back to the day before Phoebe had gone. They had been laying side by side talking about past memories and future possibilities when she popped up onto one elbow and looked him straight in the eyes. "Elikai, what is in the lower regions?" Elikai sat up, startled by the sudden question. "What makes you ask that?" "This does." Rita sat up and placed herself in front of him. "There you go, deflecting my question with another question, like always. It can be funny, but it is also frustrating. What are you not telling me?" "Rita," Elikai sighed. "Seriously, Kai, I want to know." That nickname, he loved it. "It's dangerous down there. I'm not even sure exactly what would happen if you went down, but just promise me it will not happen. Always stay here, Phoebe. We are happy here together, right?" Phoebe looked at him thoughtfully for a while. He tried to read her expression, but was not able to make it out. She looked slightly frustrated, and yet there was something else there, too. Resignation? "Of course I am happy, Kai." She smiled brightly and then laid back down. "I can just be so curious sometimes." He had been concerned that moment as he looked down at her face. The sun embraced her gentle features, causing her soft, rosy cheeks to glow behind her long, dark eyelashes. Her full pink lips formed a soft smile that almost distracted the onlooker from her long, flaxen hair that was spread out all around her as if trying to outshine the rays of the sun. He dismissed the nervous feeling just as soon as it had come. Resisting the temptation to pinch that adorable little nose that slightly turned up at the end, he lay beside her again. They lay in silence this time, both left contentedly to their own thoughts. At the time, he had believed it to be a companionable quiet, but now, as he listened to the sound of his footsteps echoing around the walls of his father's main hall, he wondered if then she was planning to leave him. Justice gave him the right to be angry, but he could not bring himself to hate her. He just wanted her back, and he now knew it was possible. There was a way he could bring her back home. He would not bring her back if she did not want to come, but if she did, then he would not hesitate. He loved her, even after all this time. Phoebe, his beautiful white rose. His father smiled at him warmly when he entered the room. "I have been expecting you, son." His father was a large man, tall, powerful, and striking in his stature. He was handsome in an elderly, wise sort of way. Elikai loved his smiling green eyes and the large white beard, but also knew how stubborn and firm his father could be when it was necessary. Their bond was very strong, and alongside his father, Elikai knew there was nothing he could not do. "I talked with him." "And?" Elikai contemplated his answer for a moment. What had he accomplished during his visit to Adrian? Phoebe was alive, or at least that's what Adrian claimed. How was he supposed to know Adrian wasn't lying to him? He admits to ruining Phoebe's mind, but he claims she's still alive. Elikai shrugged. He wouldn't give me any other details. "Do we think the girl Elikai found is the right one?" "I don't know." He felt the same frustration that came with the situation. If only he knew where she was. He did mention she looked different from the description. Don watched his son's expression closely. She was also very unstable and called herself Rita. "There is a strong chance Phoebe does not remember who she is," Elikai said out loud before adding to himself, "That is why I need to go, so I can remind her." True, but the physical appearance? Elikai had never seen my Phoebe. How was he to know what she looked like? True, but pitch black hair is quite the difference compared to the blonde young woman we remember. Elikai nodded thoughtfully before responding. That is why I need to go see her for myself. I can look her in the eyes. If it is her, I will know. I do not like this idea, Elikai. Dawn looked concerned. The only way for you to bring her back from there would be to take on mortality. Adrian has sworn to kill all Highland sympathizers, simply to spite us. Imagine if he ever got his hands on you, my beloved son. He would stop at nothing to destroy our kingdom. I am not scared, Father. This is Phoebe. I would do anything to have her back in my arms. Anything. I know. Dawn smiled at the brave man standing before him, proud that this was his son. I just wish someone else could go first to make sure it's not a trap before you jump in. I am here. The father and son turned at the sound of Matthew's voice. He stood leaning in the doorway, arms crossed. Send me. Elikai and Matthew looked down the mountain into the lower realm as the sun's shadow told tales of a day soon to be over. Elikai was grateful for what Matthew was offering to do for him, but felt like this was his fight, and he should be doing this, not his friend. Are you sure about this, Matthew? He whispered. Yes, Elikai, I am sure. But why you and not me? If you can slip into the lower realm to test our theory, why can I not? Because I don't love her. Not like you, Elikai. Matthew laid a hand on his friend's shoulder. You will not be able to think objectively. If it is her, I will come back, and then you can go get her. Elikai nodded and looked away from his friend. His mind drifted away from the mountainside, where he stood, and instead went back to the little cabin in the wildflower field, its door hanging open. He remembered the day he had went out to meet her, and she was not there. He knew something was wrong the moment he did not see her in the field coming to meet him. He knocked several times on that silent door, and when he opened it, his whole world broke into a million pieces. She was gone. Since that day, he had been wanting to ask her why she did it. Why did she leave him? Why was he not enough for her? Even more frightening to him was the fear of what would happen if he did find her. In his dreams, she would look at him and run straight into his arms and whisper in his ear how happy she was to see him again. He would hold her close and say that it was all over now. She was his and they were safe. They would always be safe. These hopes always made him smile and tense in anticipation. And yet there was that fear that she would not be happy to see him at all. Maybe she would not want to come back. Elikai? Matthew's voice pulled him away from his own thoughts. Yes? Provided Adrian was not lying and said you could have Phoebe back, what did he want in return? Elikai hesitated. He knew what Adrian's demands meant for him. Would Matthew understand? Come on, I know Adrian. Matthew turned to face him, his face probing for answers. What diabolical plan does he have brewing? He wants something pure, undefiled, and valuable. Elikai sighed. He wants power, Matthew. Always has. He wants something that can make him more powerful than he already is. More powerful than me, you, and Father. What could that be? Blood, Matthew. He wants my blood.